Welcome to another episode of It's We almost had it. There we go. We're getting better. I'm Dan. This is Steph, and today, whenever you're watching, Stefen is going to share a wonderful story idea. So, Stefen, take it away.
Thanks, brother. All right, so this is how do you say it? A story. I kind of got inspiration from something you talked to me about when we were in college, and I'll bring that up real quick before I hop into this, if that's cool. So back in college, UMass Dartmouth, back in the halls of Larts, or it was the library, one of those buildings. Dan and I were talking about stories and ideas like we'd like to write ourselves, and he talked to me about the story about like this gentleman who was gathering beauty debutantes for like beauty pageants, and then like having them be sacrificed to like a monster, right?
Yes.
Which is a wicked cool idea. So, in a lot of ways, this is like that idea. I don't want to say verbatim, but almost verbatim. So, in a way, I kind of stole this from Dan. So this is a Dan story that I thought was really cool. And
I stole it from Edgar Allan Poe a little bit. So, not that premise, but so.
I don't know.
No idea is original. That's what I'm getting at.
I got you. Well, anyway, I just want to say the source for this, the bones of it, come from something that you had talked to me about. So I thought that was really cool. So this is similar in fashion to that. So it is a Hawaiian cult thriller called Hopina, which means danger or evil. I forget which way. I also might have mispronounced that, but Hopena. Hopina. And it is about this group, right? Elite group, this cult that follows a sacred text. And they have survived throughout the ages, right? They've survived throughout the ages. Their practices have handed down from generation to generation. And they host beauty pageants. And they're hosting a beauty pageant in Hawaii. And, they send all the local beauty pageants invitations like, hey, we thought you looked really good. We'd like to cordially invite you to come out to Hawaii. All expenses paid. All that stuff, all the good stuff is like in bold. And then in like very, very little font, right? Like they have like rules and stipulations. And basically it's just like, you can come with a parent. We'll pay for everything. And then we'll get into some of that other stuff as we go. So, naturally, they all go, right? But this cult ultimately sacrifices something, people for a doomsday-esque monster, right? Like a Lazarus pit, but like in the building, or I want to say it's in a volcano, but that seems really cliche. But I'd like it if it was like a volcano type thing. The monster's in a volcano. The hotel or where it's being hosted at is close to said volcano, but it looks very cool, very beautiful, very tropical. So anyway, the cult sacrifices these girls to appease this monster. Now the kicker is these guys don't do this every year, right? It's every 20 years they have to do it because that's the window of time they have when Jupiter, the sun, and the Earth align. This is an actual thing that happens, and it happens every 20 years. So, every 20 years they throw this really big thing. They bring back people who have won. It's not every girl that's sacrificed, it's only one. Right? So they bring back past contestants to judge, to, what am I trying to say? Like retry out or like return, maybe have a different outlook where they win. And no one thinks the latter of it, except one burnt out detective who was on a case and a girl went missing and nobody seemed to care what happened to her. They just chalked it up like, oh, she went out partying or something and didn't come back, right? She didn't stay close to the hotel. I'd have to look up like what crime is like in Hawaii, but I imagine like anywhere, if you look hard enough, you'll find it. So some bad stuff happens. but people just throw it under the rug. But he's been on this case trying to figure it out. So he goes to this pageant because it was at this pageant 20 years ago that he lost this girl. So he goes there, and it's about how he infiltrates this organization, infiltrates the pageant. We get some perspective from the girls. I want to say maybe one girl figures out, like, oh, there's some shady stuff going on, so her and the detective team up to figure it out. And then I want the monster to look like a volcano salamander kind of thing. But maybe like with like the alien queen, she's got the big arms and then like the little arms. So maybe it has the big arms and then has like little arms, like 1, 2, and then big ones.
You're doing this, is that like a section, like...
Yeah, like arms are right here. Like it's like this, but here, and then here, then here, then it has the big arms as well.
I gotcha.
And it's like...
So there isn't actually a monster?
Oh yeah, there's actually a monster.
I gotcha.
And then it's like the detective has to like, obviously kill the monster, defeat the cult, something along those lines. And
I gotcha.
Yeah, I pictured it like filming it like the 80s. You know what I mean? Like with the synthesizer and like the neon colors and, flamenco guitar and stuff like that. I just think it'd be a really good time. And I want the detective's name to be like Reggie. I don't know what his last name will be, but Reggie is the detective. And then like this girl who is also a debutante starts figuring out, or maybe she's the sister of a debutante and is just there to help her sister, figures out like, yeah, this is some like Scooby-Doo bullshit. Those are some bad dudes. Something's wrong here.
You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a darker Miss Congeniality. Have you ever seen Miss Congeniality? Like, this guy, I mean, I knew it's a guy, but like, in a lot for infiltrating like a beauty pageant of some sort to stop some sort of crime. So it just reminds me of like a darker, monstrous version of Miss Congeniality.
That's exactly.
Hokina.
Hopina.
I don't know. Hopina.
But like that, and then have you seen Conan the Barbarian? Or no, Conan the Destroyer, sorry.
I have not.
Okay, so, childhood fan favorite movie of me and Sam. Our dad grew up showing us that and like Red Sonja and the Conan the Barbarian. But Conan the Destroyer has to do with this princess who's going to be sacrificed to summon like this doomsday-esque monster. So it's about Conan saving this princess and bring her back, not knowing that, she's going to be sacrificed. So ultimately then he's like, yep, this ain't happening. Kills the monster, saves the girl, that kind of stuff. So if like Miss Congeniality and Conan the Barbarian and your original story, Dan, combined, that is what, and like Hawaii, Magnum P.I., that's what Hopina is.
There he is, Hopina. That's a sales pitch.
That would be the pitch, yeah, if I was like, yes, these 3 things.
Yeah, no, that sounds fun.
4
it
things.
really does sound fun. I have a question though, like, the women who try out for this pageant, and like, this happens every 20 years, and like they don't win, like, and they come back. Is that what you said? I mean, I don't want to sound rude, but are they a little old to be in a beauty? I don't know.
Maybe they have like different tiers of pageants. Like, you got to be like, say like if you're 15, right? 20 years, you're 35.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So it could be like that. It could also be like, oh, you entered when you were 20, so then they have like a 40 pageant, a 40-year-old pageant, or something like that.
So I have a question in this story. Like, why are they sacrificing just the, like, I wanna know more about like why they're sacrificing the winner of the beauty pageant. I mean, like, why in your story?
Why is that what they're doing?
Is it because of like the religious zealotry of this cult? You know what I mean? Like, is it like just part of their thing, and it has nothing to do with the monster? Like, or is the monster actually like demanding, I want the most beautiful woman? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how the monster would say that, but maybe telepathically.
Telepathically. I guess it's like, how do you say this? There probably should be some like recent like, why do we do this? It's like the book says so we just do it. You know what I mean? So I guess I probably should figure out what summoning this doomsday monster will do. Like, what's an event that's happened from like the last time it was summoned, or like why didn't it work 20 years ago when they attempted to do this.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a reason why they do it. They just do it.
I mean, it could be like the thing is when it comes to like religious zealotry, like it doesn't really matter like the why. Like it doesn't really have to like make sense. It just has to like click for the people doing it. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. So they could believe like we have to find the prettiest woman, but it actually doesn't have to be like prettiest woman. You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, it could be like realistically, it could be like it doesn't even have to be women. It could have just been like, oh, this is a
Right.
weightlifting contest, and like they
Right.
just like put
For some
dudes or
reason.
some reason in there. Like they just sacrificing a certain amount of people to get there.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You know that. Yeah, so I would just encourage you, like, if you're gonna write this out, like, think about the why, and I think you don't have to like think about it too much. You know what I mean? Just like have it make sense for those people who are part of that cult. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm thinking of the people who use, you know, in cults that drink like juice and like believe they're gonna ascend to like the next life. You know what I mean? And they die. You know what I mean?
Ooh, maybe it's something like they need to sacrifice a certain number of sinners in order to get God to come down. They believe this thing is God, and then it's like, what's that sin that like when you're too into yourself? Not that I,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, you're talking about like the sin of. I have no idea.
But you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like the.
Yeah.
Did you see the neon demon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that, right? Like.
Yeah.
Though that type of idea where it's like, oh, we're so into ourselves in some regards, or like, yeah, I gotta tweak whatever the reason is, but basically they believe this monster is like their messiah-esque character, and they're trying to offer enough blood of mortals to bring him down, or summon him, or something.
Yeah, no, I get you. Interesting. I like how you described the monster. You know, when you first said monster, I was like, it's a giant squid in the volcano, but I like the salamander thing. You know.
Oh, cool! Giant squid in a volcano would be awesome as well. Yeah.
I like the salamander part.
The salamander with the arms.
Yes.
And then if like I could cast this, it would either be David Harbour as the detective or Nicolas Cage.
I see them both. Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like David Harbour he just lives in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely.
David Harbour, if you ever watch this, I want you to play my detective named Reggie.
Gotcha. I'm sure he will someday.
Someday.
Hi, Mr. Harbour. We're great fans of your work.
Yes, indeed. But I guess like yeah, that's so far what I got, man. But like it started with like that conversation, you and I had way back when, building off some of those bones that you had talked about, and then yeah, I feel like people don't make like the cult movie. Like we haven't seen that. Like the last one I saw was like The Void, which was pretty good, but there haven't been a lot of cult movies, and also I think monster movies need to come back. We need more of those.
I gotcha. Yeah, for sure. You know what this sort of remind? I don't know why maybe it's because this has been like top of mind lately for some strange reason. But like Cabin in the Woods, giving me a little bit of like Cabin in the Woods vibes.
Okay.
Like if they don't do something with these monsters, like something's gonna happen. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like if they don't sacrifice some amount of people or some type of person, something's gonna happen. So I remember that being like one of the plot devices in that movie. So I was like, oh. similar take.
Enough people.
Can we put Sandra Bullock in the movie too? I know that you want to cast David Harbour, but I think Sandra Bullock should like play a cameo somehow. I don't know.
Like on a connecting flight?
Yes.
Yeah, or actually, I mean,
Or
it
maybe
could
that's
be.
the after credit scene.
Yeah. Her and David Harbour. I could see Sandra Bullock easily as the... Reggie could be Regina. That could be a nickname.
I mean, do what you need to.
Hard-boiled detective.
I think we need to have Sandra Bullock in this somehow. Whether she is, she could be one of the beauty queens. I don't know.
This would make an excellent comic book.
It would be.
I'm gonna look into that. Yeah.
Maybe call David Harbour too. See if he's interested.
I will. Do you have his number?
I mean, he might show up to Comic-Con. I don't know.
Well, he knows Cass, so maybe Cass can put in a good word and.
Yeah, they're tight.
I feel that they talked. They had a conversation.
Yeah. She spent how much did she spend to ask your question?
She was very sweet in offering that. It's much to Cass. I don't know if I ever told you that, but I appreciate you asking David Harbour my question. You're a sweet person.
Hopina.
All right, that's Hopina. So possibly a comic book. I will figure out what happens with this cult, why they're doing what they're doing. But basically, people are going to be sacrificed in like in like this pit type thing, and then like either one giant fiery salamander will come about, or multiple giant salamandery things will come about and bring the end of days as they scorch through the poorly managed forest areas of the United States and the world.
Sounds like the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
Yes. On another note, this has been... Do you want to end it there?
Yes, I think that's an excellent spot. Despair. That's what you need to go home with.
Okay. So, let's leave that taste in everyone's mouth. This has been another episode of Pitch Slaps.
Yes!
Join us again for another episode. Thank you. Stay gold.